I just got back from Barnes & Noble, so you know what that means. But before we do a quick book haul, let's review all the series that I'm currently in the middle of, because today's video is continuing series that I'm in the middle of. On Goodreads, I have 17 series on my list, and I've actually removed a couple from the last time that we talked about series on this channel. For example, The Heartless Hunter, I have book 1 of. I annotated it, I tabbed it, I gave it 4 stars, but I honestly have zero interest in reading book 2. I've heard only good things, I just don't really care about the characters that much to continue. So I'm giving this book to my sister instead, and I removed this series from the series I need to continue list. So things like that, I've kind of edited around. So I pulled up my Goodreads on my phone, and if we go to my series I need to finish, shelf, tag, whatever you want to call it, I have 17 on here. A Court of Wings and Ruin, Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, Glint, The Finish Line, For the Throne, Magnolia Parks 3, Final Offer, House of Flame and Shadow, Taming 7, Play Along, Daydream, Songbird and the Heart of Stone, Rebel Witch, that one I want to take off. I think I'm going to take that one off. Fearless, Caught Up, Fallen Stars, and The Ballad of Falling Dragons. So I'm going to come and remove this one. So goodbye, Rebel Witch. And that leaves us with 16 series I need to finish. Now, one of the series on that list is the Dreamland Billionaire series by Lauren Asher. This is the 3rd book in that series and one of the 2 books that I went and got at Barnes & Noble today. So yay, book haul. I'm really excited about this book. This is about Cal, which is the 3rd brother, and I just recently read the 2nd book, which is Terms and Conditions, in my 24-hour reading challenge that I did a couple weeks ago. Last week. So I was like, I actually really loved this more than I thought I was, so I wanted to pick up this one because the first book in this series I gave 3 stars, but the second I gave 4, so this one I'm hoping I can give another some around 4-star rating. The thing is, I didn't realize how much longer this one was. Terms and Conditions is 470 pages. I want to say Final Offer is 560 pages. Yeah, it's literally 560. Lauren Asher, babe, I know you write long books. Your most recent series is 600-page books, but what romance needs to be this long? I'm confused, but I'm excited about it nonetheless because I, again, really loved book 2. And Cal is supposed to be the funny, possibly alcoholic brother, so we have a lot of trauma to unpack there that I think will be interesting. And we haven't met Alana, who's a love interest, but I think she's his ex and or childhood best friend, so I'm sure there's a lot to unpack. I don't know if it needs 600 pages to do so, but we'll find that out. So that's one of the books that I want to read in today's vlog. The other book that I got at Barnes & Noble, which is not continuing a series, but it's on my April TBR in general, is Beartown by Frederick Bachman. I've wanted this book for months and months, and so now finally having it in my hands is so liberating. The same way that I thought this book was shorter, I thought this book was longer than it is. It's actually only less than 415 pages, so it's not, terribly short, but it's shorter than I expected. It's just that the text is pretty small and it takes up the entirety of the page. There's no margin room in this book, so I'm sure it will take me a hot second to finish, but I'm excited. I know this is some kind of literary fiction expanding from my normal contemporary romance zone, but it's about a town in some kind of snowy, I don't even know where it is, but snowy, wintry town, and they're all surrounded by hockey, and hockey makes the city go round basically, and I've gotten really into hockey in the past couple years. I work with the hockey team at my school at university, so hopefully this would be a really cool book to read. I think it'll be fun, but it's not a series, so I won't be reading it in this video, but one I want to read sometime this month. Off topic, but can you see my eye twitching? It's been twitching uncontrollably for a couple days now, and I don't know how to stop it or why it even started. It's just annoying because I'll just be talking and I'm my eye is just twitching. Hello? Okay, and then the last book that I'm thinking about reading, possibly in this vlog, is The Finished Line by Kate Stewart. This is the 3rd book in the Ravenhood series, and I haven't vlogged myself reading the first 2 books in the series because I literally have binged them over the past 5 days, but this series has overtaken my entire world recently. I'll talk about it a lot more at my reading wrap-up at the end of this month, but because I wanted to read One Last Rainy Day, which was on my April TBR, I realized that I can't read that book before I read the Flock series, so I read Flock and then Exodus over the past week, and again, it's taken up my entire soul. I've just been sucked into this series. It has its flaws for sure, but the plot is incredible. The characters are so intriguing, and it just I can't stop reading it. And so I finished book 2 this morning. I want to pick up book 3 at some point, but the emotional devastation that I felt in book 2, I was sobbing in the shower yesterday because of this book. So I need to pause on this series, I think, go to something else and come back to this series. Anyway, that's the plan for this vlog. If you're excited, subscribe. I post vlogs all the time. And I'm excited too, so let's get into it. Okay, so I was doing a little bit of bookshelf reorganizing because I have too many books to fit on my shelf. I don't know if you can see it, they're already stacking on top of the shelf and everything is packed very full. I'm going to be moving in a couple of months, at which time I will get a new shelf and be able to expand. But in the meantime, I'm trying to figure out how best to organize the books that I like the best, to make sure they all fit. And I wanted to keep my TBR, I think it's this shelf. I wanted to keep all my TBR books together. So now that's the shelf that has all of my unread books on it, and everywhere else, except for the last Akotar book, because I want to keep the series together up there. Everything else should have its own proper place. But these 6 books I took off of the shelf. Number 1, to save space, and number 2, because I think I'm going to be getting rid of these 6 books. So we have The Bridge Canyon, which I gave 3 stars, didn't love. Spark of the Everflame, also 3 stars, didn't love. Touch of Darkness, I don't even know what happens in this book. I mean, it's a Hades and Persephone book, but I don't remember the plot, so it was too long ago. They both died at the end. I've never actually read, but it's been on my TBR for years, but I have no inkling to pick it up, so I'm probably not going to be honest. My Roommate is a Vampire. I bought this book last year, but I have not wanting to pick it up, so it's kind of just like taking up space. And then Heartless Hunter, this one I gave 4 stars. Like I said, I liked this book, but I'm going to give it to my sister, so I'm going to take this off my shelf as well. The rest of the books I'm probably going to sell at Half Price Books, get a little bit of money for them, and give them to someone else who would appreciate them better. But for now, they're not fitting on my shelf, so I think I'm literally just going to put them like on the ground next to it, which sounds a little messy, but I don't have anywhere else in this room to put it. Like, that's my roommate's space over there. My space is all very cluttered, and I just want to like get this off the shelf. So I'm just going to put this on the ground, and we'll hopefully deal with it someday. Maybe tomorrow. But Audrey, this Heartless Hunter, don't worry, I'm saving it. Hello lovelies. I think the last time I talked in this vlog, was it Saturday? Goodness, it's been a few days. Currently it's Tuesday afternoon and I got to a third of the way through Final Offer. I wanted to talk about it. This entire week so far has been so busy. It's like literally Tuesday, but like this entire week I have plans every single day going into the weekend. Last weekend was super busy as well, so I didn't have much time to read and I've just been like running in circles around everything I feel, with like meetings and classes and going places, and it's just a lot. So maybe not the best time to do a reading vlog, but like I'm reading slowly, but I am. So I want to talk about these books nonetheless. Update though on the books that I wanted to get rid of. That I think it was the last clip that I filmed. I went to Half Price Books on Sunday and I sold them all for $11 and I think like 50 cents. So I may have gotten more money off of it if I sold them on like Pango Books or something, but then I would have to deal with like shipping and all that stuff. So I figured since I wanted to get them off my hands like ASAP, I would just head over to Half Price, and I did go to Half Price and I actually picked up a different book as well. But let's talk about Final Offer. So this is, like I said, the 3rd book in the Dreamland Billionaires series. I'm currently a third of the way through it, and this follows Callahan, or Cal, and Alana, or Cal calls her Lana. So Callahan is the middle child, I want to say, middle child, and he deals with a lot of addiction issues. So he has an addiction to alcohol, and he has gone to rehab for it, but he is still not sober. He's back to drinking, and he tends to drown his problems in vodka quite frequently. And so if that's a trigger warning for you, keep that in mind for this book. I don't think everything's too graphic yet, but obviously it is a very heavy topic to discuss and something that he struggles with a lot. But he's coming back because he wants to sell this house that his grandfather had for him. Or I don't even think it was for him, but there's this house that he wants to sell that his grandfather owned. Well, Alana, his technically ex, also taught a best friend, but basically someone he has to talk to since they were 18. She used to live in this house, I think, and still does. He used to come during the summers, I believe, and see her every summer. He left when she was 18 and never came back. He comes back to the house wanting to sell it and realizes that she's still living in there with her daughter Cammie, and he was like, oh my gosh, you have a kid, I had no idea. There's this whole thing going on about he wants to sell the house and she lives in it, number one, and number two, doesn't want to sell it because she has too many good memories in the house that she doesn't want to get rid of it, even if it means getting a lot of money off of the house and going to a new house. She just doesn't want to relinquish it. And so the conflict of the house is a big one, but also the conflict of they haven't seen each other in like 5+ years, and he's coming back, but he's still dealing with the same struggles he did as a teenager, aka alcohol and addiction and all that stuff. And so she is seeing that still be a problem for him, and she is not trusting herself to fall for him again like she did as a teenager. And then there's also the element of her sister is also an addict. We haven't heard much about the sister, but we have a little bit, just nuggets of that so far. So it seems like she has dealt with a lot of addiction in her life for other people, and she's trying to just like start fresh with her daughter and create a clean slate and not have to be like trapped under the burdens of other people again. So I'm sure that throughout this book we'll have to look at Cal working through his issues in order to go back and deserve Lana. And also I think that Lana also puts a lot, I mean, she loves her daughter so much, Cammy, and I think she puts a lot of herself towards her kid. I mean, as you should, but that means she doesn't really think of herself at all. Like, she has this dream to open a bakery, but she is just really pushing that to the back burner because she wants to take care of her daughter and give her the best education, going to a private school, things like that. So anyway, there's a lot going on, a lot about finances, a lot about addiction, and also just like a sweet romance in the middle of this. And so I'm honestly really enjoying it. I can't say I've really dived into it as fast as I did book 2. I mean, I read book 2 during the middle of a 24-hour reading challenge, whereas this one I'm reading just in the span of a couple days that were very busy. So obviously I can't read as much or as frequently as I did during book 2. I do think just in general the plot is not even moving slowly, because I do think the chapters are quite quick. It's moving quite fast into things. I just think that I was more intrigued with book 2 because it was an arranged marriage trope. And also, kids in books are really difficult, or not difficult for me. It's just like a hit or miss. You know, they're either done really well and I love them, or they're really annoying, like the kid in Wild Love, and they're kind of the reason why I DNF'd that book. So I'm just like back and forth on whether or not I like Cammy yet. We'll see what I feel about Cammy by the end of this. But I'm realizing that Lauren Asher is honestly one of my new favorite contemporary writers. I've read a lot of contemporaries, but I don't really stay consistent with authors very much, I don't think. But this is now my 4th book that I've read by her, and I am really liking her style. So add her to the list of like Allie Hazelwood, Chloe Walsh, although that's a different genre of books, I feel. Her books are so much more emotional. Maybe like Hannah Grace. I've read a couple of her books too. I don't know. I'm not as consistent with what I'm saying with contemporary book authors as I am with like my fantasy book authors that I would like die for. So I'm glad to have a new one to like add on to my list, you know? I'm gonna get back to it because I got work, girl. I'm busy, but I really want to finish this the next couple days and move on to a different book for this vlog. Two days later and I've finished, oh, that's embarrassing. Let's try again. 2 days later and I finished Final Offer by Lauren Asher. I honestly kind of binged the last like 40% of this. I don't know how I finished it so fast. From the first 60% took me like quite a few days. But yeah, this one's done and I want to talk about it. So just off the bat, I'm giving this one 4 stars, just like book 2. I really enjoyed this one. I honestly think that sometimes I'm a little nice in my ratings because I did have some issues with this book, but overall I had a really good time with it, and it doesn't match in my head books that I've given 3 or 3.5 stars. So maybe in general I need to be more strict with my ratings, because I feel like I give a lot of books 4 stars and there could be like a range in that, 4 or 4.5. But anyway, that's beside the point. This I think was a 4 star because it was pretty level in my opinion to book 2. My issues with this book stem from, number 1, it was a little bit too long. Like, this is pushing 600 pages for a story that was complex. Okay, there was Cal's alcohol issues, there was Lana and her daughter, and issues with wanting to go to, you know, do her dream job, but then there's money, there's the inheritance issues, they're selling the house, there's of course the romance in this, there's everyone in the town who hates Cal now that he's back and try to figure out how to integrate back into Lake Wisteria, the town again, and convince them to like him. There's a lot. I understand that. I just feel like there are quite a few scenes in here. I don't even think the scenes were too long because the chapters are short, it goes by quick, the dialogue is pretty snappy. I just think that it was a lot of Lana saying she doesn't trust Cal and Cal saying that he's going to make it up to her. And I mean, very important scenes, but there could have been a little less. I feel like kind of shortened this, maybe 100 pages. So maybe Lauren Asher's just a little long-winded. You know, her novella was like 250 pages, so maybe she just likes to yap. My other issue with this book, I think, is the 3rd act conflict. I do think, and I'm not going to spoil anything for this book because it's just a romance. Like, we get at the end they end up together, right? So you can kind of put the pieces together. I do think that in general there needed to be a point at which Cal really gets that break to become sober, and the 3rd act breakup and everything is combined into that big moment. So I do think that moment was necessary. I just really hate, like, I roll my eyes when I get to the point where there's like a miscommunication or someone hears something and then there's like, oh, I trusted you and now you betrayed me, all this stuff. And then we get 100 pages of very predictable, very seen before plot that honestly any other romance has. Like, I roll my eyes because I'm like, okay, we've been here. Let me just kind of rush through these next 60, 80 pages because I know what I could tell you what it is going to be, you know? I always get disappointed when authors do that. I mean, again, it is just a contemporary romance book, but that doesn't mean that you can't be original with your plots. Like, I think contemporary romance is a great genre and should have originality and should have, you know, maybe a plot twist or two that surprises us, even though it is a very, you know, common genre and is very popular right now. Yeah, I just, you know, I want something a little different, something more original. But that being said, it was really wholesome. Cammy turned out to be, she was cute. You know, she didn't really annoy me that much. She was fine. I like Lana. She's very self-determined. She knows what she wants. She's going to put her foot down on things, and I really appreciate that. I thought that the relationship between the brothers, between all three books, kind of really had a nice ending in this book. And so I think overall it was a great way to end the series, a nice tie-in. Of course, we had our bajillion epilogue scenes and all that stuff. So it was sweet. It was wholesome. I had a good time. 4 stars. And that brings my series, or list of series to continue, down to 15, which I think is the lowest it's been in a hot second. That's still a lot. It's still a lot, but it's the lowest it's been in a hot second. Now here's the thing. Fearless just came out, which is the 3rd book in the Powerless series. It came out I think it was last Tuesday, so like 3 days ago. And I ordered it online, so it should be here tomorrow, which I'm excited about. But that one is also like over 500 pages. I looked, I was like, it's pushing 600. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I want to read good books and I want authors to be able to fully express their stories, but also like I want to get this video out by next week. And how am I supposed to read 2 more books by then? So I probably should pick up the audiobook for The Finish Line and see if I can get any further in that. And then pick up Fearless when it comes in tomorrow and start working my way through that one. So we'll just kind of see what I pick up next. Let's talk about The Finish Line by Kate Stewart, because I've been listening to this audiobook last night and this morning. I was like filming on my desk today. My desk is a mess, by the way, because I was just filming. I was filming for a couple hours and I just have like stationery everywhere. It's like I really need to like pick up. But I want to talk about this book because honestly, I'm 55% of the way through. I think I said that. And it is not nearly as good as book 1 or 2. The first one I really loved, thought it was spicy, thought it was fun. The second book, I had issues with at the beginning, and then I sobbed my eyes out during the middle, so kind of leveled out at the end to be the same rating as book 1. Book 1 was like this, book 2 was like this, but they both like averaged out to be a 4-star, if that makes sense. Now I'm reading book 3, and to be honest, like I feel like everything is out of order. And I'm not going to spoil plot because obviously that would be a spoiler. But all I want to say is this book focuses a lot on our MMC. There are actually more chapters in his POV than the girl Cecilia, whereas in books 1 and 2, it's only from Cecilia's point of view. And so we're getting all this catch up from the guy, and we're also getting flashback scenes of him and his family when he was younger. But honestly, because of the situation that we're in right now, and I'm not going to spoil, but because of the situation, I feel like these flashbacks are not useless, but like it's too late at this point. Like I needed this flashback, this character growth, this like relationship development between him and his like brothers, like last book, maybe even the one before, maybe not the one before, but at least book 2. And so I'm like, honestly, this book is 550 pages, but it's way too long and I'm annoyed by it because I want the stuff that's making it longer, aka the flashbacks, to be put in the previous book, and then we can end the previous book at the part that I was sobbing, which would be heartbreaking, but there is book 3. Take the second half of book 2, put it at the beginning of book 3, and have book 3 be a completely different plot line. I don't know, it just makes so much sense. I feel like this book is like backtracking and like catching us up on stuff that at this point we've either assumed or moved on from, you know? So like I like the flashback scenes, I just wish that we had them earlier in the series, so now it's just like a waste of time for me to just read them all. Again, I think it's just too long. Like I want it to be shorter. I'm 55% of the way through, but that's 300 pages. Like that's a book, and I'm barely passing halfway. I keep looking at my computer because I have the audiobook on my computer, and I'm like looking at the cover. I've been mostly reading it on my Kindle or through audiobook today. If it wasn't for the audiobook, this would be going so much slower. But I'm trying to finish this book before I get Fearless. I was about to say powerless. I have powerless. Before I get Fearless. Fearless. I think it's coming in the mail tonight, which means it's not going to be in the mailroom till tomorrow, but tomorrow's Sunday. I don't think they're open, so I'll get it on Monday after classes. I'm just like trying to get through this one first, but honestly, it's a little bit, not a hate read, but I'm just like dreading it. Like it's not going to be that 4-star level that the first 2 were at. It's probably looking at a 3-star because it's not like a bad book. Like the writing isn't necessarily bad. I just want everything in the series to be in a different order, like rewrite the series completely, and it would have been better. It would have kept my attention longer, and it would have made this 3rd book worth it. Whereas honestly, right now, as it is, if we just did book 1 and 2 and stopped the series, I would have been fine with it. So that's where I'm at right now. The last thing I want to mention is that the spin-off book, which is One Last Rainy Day, that was the book on my April TBR. I have since removed it from my TBR and replaced it with book 1 from Flock because I realized that I had to read the Flock series first. I think I talked about this in a previous video. Or maybe it was this video. I don't remember. Anyway. What I'm saying is that book technically is a spin-off of this series, but I'm not going to count it as in this series. So when I finish this book, it'll be the end of the series, and I'm probably not going to read One Last Rainy Day in this month. I'll probably read it at some point, but I just don't think I have the emotional capacity or the willpower to read it, because I'm getting bored of Cecilia at this point. I need a little break from her so I can get back into her and that book later. That's that. I'm gonna finish this book. I'm gonna clean up my very messy desk and move on with my life. So hope you're all having a great Saturday. All right, here's the thing, y'all. I have a couple updates to finish out this vlog, but the first one is my third book for this video is not going to come in time. I'm so sorry. I ordered Fearless like last Wednesday or Thursday, and it was supposed to deliver on Saturday, and it says it's going to come today. Today's Monday, and it still hasn't delivered yet. It's 12:30, and I'm thinking to myself, this is like a 500+ page book. If it comes tonight, then I probably won't be able to finish it before Wednesday to get the vlog out on Thursday, and I don't want to delay the vlog for y'all. And I'm also working on a really fun vlog for the next week as well that I'm trying to get through. So although Fearless is on my immediate want to read list because it's a new release, obviously, I don't think it's going to happen in this video, but it will definitely be read either in this month or next month for the wrap-up videos. So I will talk about it on this channel, don't you worry. That being said, I want to do a wrap-up on the books that I did read, finish talking about The Finish Line, and then also talk about the book that I bought at half price, because I told you a couple days ago that I bought a book with my money from selling my 5 books, but I never actually showed it. So just to clarify, I got Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. This is the first book in her most recent series that she's still actually in the middle of releasing. I think 2 out of the 3 books are out so far. I've heard great things about this series. The books are just as thick and chunky as the last couple books in the Dreamland Billionaires series. This one is looking at 580 pages. Like, there's no reason that a book needs to be that long, in my opinion, for contemporary romance. But that being said, I have realized that I really am liking the way that Lauren Asher writes, so I can get through a thicker book by her because I do like her style a lot. So this is on my list of series to start eventually, I guess, but I'm not going to start it now because, again, I'm trying to like lower the series I'm in the middle of. But book haul. Now, to talk about the book The Finish Line, which I read on my Kindle, I finished this through Kindle and audiobook. I think the last time I talked to you was Saturday. I think I finished it Saturday night, and since I've been reading other books, which I'm really excited about, I'm so excited, but that's for a separate vlog next week. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. The Finish Line, I ended up giving 3 stars. The thing is, and my thoughts really didn't change from what I was talking about at my last update, in that everything that was written could have been rearranged in the series to make it worthwhile, it being book 3. But I feel like all the plot we got was just boring. All the background we got I wanted earlier, and all the romance we got was, again, kind of boring because we've already seen this girl fall in love with this man in book 2. And I'm trying to say this with like most vague and non-spoiler way possible, but I was just like unimpressed, and honestly, not hate reading, but I was just trying to like get through the book and say that I finished it. So 3 stars for The Finish Line. It's not a bad series by any means. I loved book 1. It was so much fun. Book 2, like I said, my emotions were like here in book 2 for the majority of it. I was either angry, like viscerally angry, or I was sobbing, or I was like kicking my feet. Like, book 2 was so up and down. And I still recommend this series in general because it is very original in my opinion. Like, it's dark romance in that a lot of the characters in the book are in this underground gang, is a wrong way to put it. It's like this group of people who are trying to do good, but they do bad things to create good impact, if that makes sense. So a lot of morally gray characters, a lot of like going against the law, going against the government to like do what they think is right. And I do recommend books 1 and 2, which were both 4 stars, but book 3 was kind of a waste of time, honestly. And then, like I said, the spin-off book I will read eventually, but not now. As far as the other book or series that I finished in this video, I finished The Final Offer. Like I said, this was 4 stars, and that finishes out the Dreamland Billionaires series. Not to be confused with the Lakefront Billionaires. Dreamland, Lakefront, a little confusing. She likes to write about these rich men, I guess. But yeah, overall, the first book in the series was 3, but the second 2 were 4. So honestly, the exact reverse of the Ravenhood series. But I honestly really liked this one, and finishing this book just really concreted in my, is that a word? Concreted? Solidified maybe in my head that I really like Lauren Asher's writing, and that's why I bought another book by her. So this was a good time. My list is now down to 15 series, I think. And when I finish Powerless, or gosh, I keep saying the wrong word. When I finish Fearless, that'll be down to 14. And again, I'll talk about that in a future video. Make sure to subscribe because like I said, next week's vlog is going to be so much fun. I'm really excited about it. And until then, have an amazing, amazing week. I love you so much. And if you want to watch my last reading vlog, I will link it right here on the screen. Have a great week.